Years of beatings and abuse, until a cowboy walked through the door. The glass shattered against the wall 6 inches from her head. Claire pressed herself into the corner of the kitchen, arms wrapped around her ribs, where the bruises from yesterday still throbbed with each breath. Her husband Danny stood in the doorway, his face twisted with rage, one fist still clenched around the neck of another bottle. This was Tuesday. On Mondays he usually just yelled. Tuesdays brought the thrown objects. By Friday, if the pattern held, his hands would find her throat again. She had stopped asking why years ago. The reasons changed, but the outcome never did. Dinner too cold. Dinner too hot. She looked at another man. She did not look grateful enough. The bills were too high. She was too quiet. She talked too much. 3 years of marriage had taught her that nothing she did mattered. The violence came regardless. Claire was 26 years old and could not remember the last time she had smiled. Danny took another swig from the bottle and moved closer. She could smell the whiskey before he even crossed the threshold. His boots crunched on the broken glass. She made herself small, made herself silent, made herself into nothing. Sometimes that worked. Sometimes. Not today. His hand shot out and grabbed her hair, yanking her head back so hard her neck cracked. She bit down on her scream. Screaming made it worse. Crying made it worse. Fighting back made it worse. She had learned to go somewhere else in her mind when this happened, to float above her body and wait for it to end. The blow came fast. His fist connected with her cheekbone, and stars exploded across her vision. She tasted copper. The second punch caught her in the stomach, and she doubled over, gasping. He let go of her hair, and she crumpled to the floor among the glass shards. "Walk away," she prayed silently. "Please just walk away." He kicked her once in the side, boot heel driving into her kidney, and then he did walk away. She heard him grab his keys from the counter. Heard the front door slam. Heard his truck roar to life in the driveway. Claire lay on the kitchen floor for 20 minutes before she could move. When she finally pulled herself up, she caught her reflection in the window. The right side of her face was already swelling, the skin around her eye turning purple. She touched it gently and winced. This was her life. This had been her life for 3 years. The ranch sat 20 miles outside of Copper Ridge, Wyoming, population 812. Danny had inherited it from his father, along with the temper and the drinking. They had no neighbors within 5 miles. No one to hear her scream. No one to see the bruises she hid under long sleeves even in summer. She had tried to leave once, 14 months ago. She had made it as far as the bus station in town before Danny found her. He dragged her back to the ranch by her hair and locked her in the cellar for 2 days. When he finally let her out, he made his position clear. If she ever tried to leave again, he would kill her. She believed him. The local sheriff was Danny's cousin. The doctor in town played poker with Danny every Thursday night. Claire had no family, no money of her own, nowhere to go. Danny made sure of that. He controlled everything. The bank accounts, the truck keys, even the phone line. She was a prisoner in her own home. She cleaned up the broken glass with shaking hands, swept it into the dustpan, threw it away. Wiped down the wall where the bottle had hit, erased the evidence like she always did. By the time Danny came home, probably around midnight, probably drunker than when he left, the kitchen would look perfect. And she would be in bed, pretending to sleep, hoping he was too drunk to want anything from her. Claire moved through the motions mechanically. She had become an expert at cleaning up aftermath, at hiding damage, at surviving one more day. She did not know that everything was about to change. She did not know that 20 miles away, a dusty pickup truck with Montana plates was pulling into Copper Ridge. She did not know that the man driving that truck had kind eyes and steady hands and a past that made him very, very good at spotting trouble. She did not know that rescue was coming. All she knew was the pain in her ribs and the familiar weight of hopelessness settling over her shoulders like a shroud. The sun set over the ranch. Claire locked all the doors and windows. She checked them twice. Then she went upstairs to wait for the sound of Danny's truck in the driveway, for the stumbling footsteps on the stairs, for whatever version of hell Tuesday night would bring. In Copper Ridge, Jack Morrison finished his coffee at the diner and asked the waitress if she knew anyone hiring ranch hands. The waitress, a tired woman named Betty with kind eyes, told him about the Henderson place 20 miles out. They were always looking for help. "Good pay," she said. But something in her voice made Jack pause. "What kind of people are they?" he asked. Betty refilled his cup and would not quite meet his eyes. "Danny Henderson runs it now," she said quietly. "His wife keeps to herself." Jack nodded slowly. He had heard that particular tone before, knew what it meant when someone said a woman kept to herself. He left a generous tip and walked out into the cooling evening. His truck sat at the curb, everything he owned packed in the bed under a tarp. He had been drifting for 2 years, moving from ranch to ranch, looking for something he could not name, running from something he could not forget. Maybe he would check out the Henderson place tomorrow, see if they needed an extra hand. Maybe he would just keep driving. Jack climbed into his truck and sat there for a long moment, hands on the steering wheel, staring at nothing. Then he started the engine and pulled out onto the empty road, heading north toward the mountains. Behind him, the sun disappeared below the horizon. Ahead of him, 20 miles of dark road unwound into the night. He did not know he was driving toward a woman who had given up hope. Did not know that tomorrow morning would change 2 lives forever. But somewhere deep in his gut, in that place where instinct lived, Jack Morrison knew he was exactly where he was supposed to be. The road stretched out before him. He pressed down on the gas and drove into the darkness, toward a fate neither he nor Claire could have predicted. Jack did not sleep well that night. He never did. The motel room in Copper Ridge was clean enough, cheap enough, anonymous enough. He lay on top of the covers, fully clothed, and stared at the ceiling, watching the headlights from passing cars sweep across the water-stained tiles. At 3 a.m, he gave up, pulled on his boots, and went for a walk. The town was dead silent. His footsteps echoed on the empty sidewalk. He passed the diner, the hardware store, the feed supply shop, everything closed and dark. At the end of Main Street, he found what he was looking for. The bar was still open. A few trucks parked outside, yellow lights spilling from the windows. Jack pushed through the door. A handful of men sat scattered at the bar and in booths. They all looked up when he entered, sized him up with the wariness small towns reserve for strangers, then went back to their drinks. The bartender, a heavy-set man with a gray beard, nodded at him. "What can I get you?" "Whiskey." "Neat." The bartender poured, and Jack took the glass to a booth in the back. He sipped slowly and listened. In small towns, bars were where you learned things, where people talked when the whiskey loosened their tongues. It did not take long. 2 men at the bar, ranch hands by the look of them, were complaining about their boss. Jack tuned them out. 3 men in a booth across the room were playing cards and trash-talking. Jack ignored them too. Then he heard it. A name. Henderson. "I am telling you," one of the card players said, his voice carrying across the nearly empty bar. "Danny Henderson is going to kill someone one of these days. You see him last week at the livestock auction? Nearly beat that guy to death over a fence dispute." "The man is a menace," another agreed. "But what are you going to do?" "His cousin is the sheriff." "What about his wife?" the third man asked. "Anyone seen her lately?" A pause. Then the first man spoke again, quieter now. "I saw her at the general store 2 months back, had bruises on her arms. Would not look anyone in the eye. I tried to ask if she was okay, and she practically ran out of the store." "Danny keeps her locked up out there," the second man said. "My wife tried to visit once, take her some pie, be neighborly. Danny met her at the door with a shotgun, told her to get off his property. We have not tried again. Someone should do something." "Yeah, someone should, but no one will." The men went back to their card game. Jack sat in his booth and turned the whiskey glass in his hands. He knew men like Danny Henderson, had known them all his life, had been raised by one. His father had been a mean drunk who used his fists first and asked questions never. Jack had the scars to prove it. So did his mother until the day she stopped getting up after one of his father's rages. Jack had been 16 when he found her, 17 when he put his father in the hospital, 18 when he left home and never looked back. That was 12 years ago. He had spent those years working ranches, moving from place to place, never staying long. He told himself he was looking for work. The truth was, he was running from the memories, from the guilt, from the boy he had been and the man he was afraid he might become. But he was 30 years old now and tired of running, tired of closing his eyes and seeing his mother's face, tired of waking up in anonymous motel rooms with nothing but ghosts for company. Jack finished his whiskey and stood. The bartender nodded as he left. Outside, the night air was cold and sharp. He walked back to the motel slowly, hands in his pockets, thinking. At dawn, he checked out, threw his bag in the truck, and drove out to the Henderson ranch. The road was rough, mostly gravel, cutting through empty grassland dotted with sage. After 20 minutes, he saw the house. It sat at the end of a long driveway, a 2-story farmhouse that had seen better days. The paint was peeling. The porch sagged. Behind it were a barn, some outbuildings, and corrals where a few horses stood with their heads down. Jack pulled up to the house and killed the engine. For a moment, he just sat there. Then he got out. The front door opened before he reached the porch. A man stepped out, tall, maybe 40, with the kind of build that comes from hard work and harder living. He had mean eyes. Jack recognized them immediately. "Help you," the man said. It was not friendly. "Name is Jack Morrison. I am looking for work. Heard you might need a ranch hand." The man looked him over. "Where are you from?" "Montana. Been working ranches most of my life. I can handle horses, fix fence, whatever you need." Danny Henderson crossed his arms. What makes you think I need help? Jack shrugged. Town talk. If I am wrong, I apologize for wasting your time. Danny studied him for a long moment. Then he named a wage that was lower than it should be. Jack did not argue. He needed to be here. Needed to see for himself. When can you start? Now, if you want. Danny nodded. Bunkhouse is out back. Get settled and then check in with me at the barn. We got fence that needs mending on the north pasture. Jack grabbed his bag from the truck. As he walked around to the back of the house, he glanced at the windows. For just a second, he saw movement behind one of the upstairs curtains. A face appeared, briefly pale and shadowed. A woman. She was there and then gone, pulling back into the darkness of the room. But Jack had seen enough. Had seen the bruise on her cheek, had seen the fear in her eyes. He kept walking, kept his face neutral. Inside, something cold and hard settled in his chest. He knew what he was looking at. Knew it the way you know a storm is coming by the smell of the air. The bunkhouse was small and dusty, but it would do. Jack threw his bag on the cot and stood at the window, looking back at the house. The curtain upstairs was still, but he knew she was there. Knew she was watching. Knew she was afraid. He had come here looking for work. Maybe looking for redemption. Maybe looking for a reason to stop running. He had found all three. Jack turned away from the window and headed to the barn. He had fence to mend, and he had time. Time to watch. Time to wait. Time to figure out how to help a woman who probably did not even know help was possible anymore. Danny Henderson was in the barn, checking over some tack. He looked up when Jack entered. You know horses. I know horses. Good. We got 12 head. Need feeding twice a day. Stalls need mucking. Think you can handle that? Yes, sir. Danny tossed him a set of gloves. Tools are in the shed. Truck is out front if you need to haul anything. I will be in town most of the day. You got questions? Figure it out yourself. Understood. Danny walked past him without another word. Jack listened to his footsteps cross the yard, heard a truck door slam, heard the engine start. He waited until the sound faded into the distance. Then, he went to work. He spent the morning mending fence in the north pasture. Hard, honest work that gave him time to think. The sun climbed high and hot, sweat soaked through his shirt. He worked steadily, methodically, his hands remembering motions learned long ago. At noon, he headed back to the barn for water. As he approached the house, he saw her again. She was in the garden, pulling weeds, moving slowly like every motion hurt. She wore long sleeves despite the heat. Her hair hung down, hiding her face. Jack filled his water bottle at the pump and walked over to the garden fence. She looked up sharply, startled. Up close, he could see the bruises more clearly. Her right eye was swollen nearly shut. Her lower lip was split. She had the look of a deer caught in headlights, ready to bolt. Afternoon, he said quietly. I am Jack. Just started working here today. She stared at him and said nothing. Just wanted to introduce myself. Did not mean to startle you. I am Claire, she said finally. Her voice was barely above a whisper. Nice to meet you, Claire. He kept his distance, kept his posture relaxed and non-threatening. If you need anything, tools or whatever, just let me know. I will be around. She nodded once, quick and nervous. Then she turned back to her weeding, clearly dismissing him. Jack took the hint. He walked back to the barn without looking back. But he had seen what he needed to see. The fear. The pain. The resignation. He knew that look. Had seen it on his mother's face more times than he could count. Jack worked until sunset. Danny came back around 6, truck bed loaded with supplies from town. He was already drunk. Jack could smell it from 10 feet away. Danny barely acknowledged him, just stumbled into the house and slammed the door. Jack cleaned up at the pump and headed to the bunkhouse. He made himself dinner on the hot plate. Ate in silence. As darkness fell, he heard raised voices from the main house. A man shouting, a woman's cry cut short. Jack set down his fork and closed his eyes. Every instinct screamed at him to go over there, to kick down that door, to make it stop. But he knew better. Knew that charging in would only make things worse. Would get Claire hurt? Would get him run off the property? Or worse, he had to be smart, had to be patient, had to earn trust, wait for the right moment. The shouting continued. Then came the unmistakable sound of something breaking. Glass or dishes. More yelling, then silence. Jack sat in the darkness and waited. An hour passed. Finally, he saw a light go on upstairs in the main house. Saw a shadow move past the window. Then the light went out. He lay down on the cot but did not sleep. Could not sleep. Just stared at the ceiling and listened to the night sounds. Crickets. A distant coyote. The wind in the eaves. And he made a promise to himself. To his mother's memory. To the boy he had been who could not save her. He would save Claire. Whatever it took. However long it took. Danny Henderson would not kill her. Jack would make damn sure of that. The days fell into a pattern. Jack worked the ranch from sunup to sundown. He kept his head down and his mouth shut. He was polite to Danny, efficient with his work, invisible when possible. He watched everything and said nothing. Danny was gone most days, heading into town to drink or gamble or whatever else occupied mean drunks, with too much time and too little conscience. When he was home, he was either drinking or sleeping it off. Jack learned to read the signs, the way Danny moved, the tone of his voice, the smell of whiskey that preceded him like a dark cloud. On the bad days, the days when Danny came home already angry about something, Jack worked late, found excuses to stay in the barn or out in the far pastures, because he knew what was happening in that house, could hear it sometimes when the wind was right, and he knew that if he heard it up close, heard Claire scream or cry or beg, he would not be able to stop himself from doing something stupid. So he stayed away, and he watched. Claire was a ghost. She moved through her days like she was sleepwalking. Garden in the morning, house chores in the afternoon, cooking dinner in the evening. She never left the property, never spoke unless spoken to, never looked anyone in the eye. But Jack saw the bruises, fresh ones blooming over old ones. On her arms, her face, her neck. She tried to hide them, but in the summer heat it was impossible. Long sleeves could only cover so much. He started leaving things for her. Small things, a handful of wildflowers on the garden fence post, a ripe tomato from the plants he tended behind the barn, a jar of honey he bought in town, left on the porch rail where she would find it. She never acknowledged these gifts, never said anything, but they disappeared. And sometimes, when he was working near the house, he would catch her watching him from a window. Just for a second before she pulled away. 3 weeks passed, then 4. Jack settled into the rhythm of the ranch. He learned which horses were gentle and which had tempers. He fixed the roof on the barn. He replaced rotted fence posts. He made himself indispensable. Danny barely noticed him. That was fine. That was the plan. On a Thursday night in late July, Jack was in the bunkhouse when he heard the truck pull up to the main house. It was late, past midnight. He heard Danny get out, heard him stumbling and cursing, heard the front door slam open. Then he heard Claire scream. Jack was on his feet before he knew it. His hand was on the door handle. Every muscle in his body tensed to run, to fight, to stop what was happening. He froze, forced himself to breathe, to think. If he went over there now, Danny would shoot him, or call the sheriff. Either way, Jack would be gone and Claire would be alone again. Worse off than before. He had to wait. The screaming stopped. Jack stood in the darkness, fists clenched, jaw tight. He waited, listened, heard nothing. After an hour, he sat down. After 2, he lay down. He did not sleep. At dawn, he was up, working, pretending everything was normal. Claire did not come out to the garden that morning, or the next. On the 3rd day, Jack saw her through the kitchen window. She was moving slowly, favoring her left side. Her face was a mask of bruises. That afternoon, Danny left for town. Jack waited until the truck was out of sight. Then he walked to the house and knocked on the back door. No answer. He knocked again. "Claire, it is Jack. I just wanted to check on you. Make sure you are okay." Silence. Then, from inside, her voice. "I am fine. Please go away. You are not fine. I can see that you are hurt. It is none of your business. Please just go." Jack leaned his forehead against the door. His hands were shaking. He took a breath. "Okay, I am going. But Claire, I need you to know something. I am not going to hurt you. I am not like him. And when you are ready, when you need help, I will be here. You understand? I will be here." He waited. No response. Jack walked back to the barn. He did not know if she believed him, did not know if she would ever trust him. But he had said what he needed to say. Now it was up to her. That night was Friday. Danny came home drunk and in a rage. Jack heard him from the bunkhouse. Heard furniture breaking. Heard Claire crying. Heard Danny yelling threats and obscenities. Jack sat on the edge of his cot with his head in his hands. He had never felt so powerless in his life. All his strength, all his skills, all his good intentions meant nothing. He could not save her. Not like this, not yet. Saturday morning, Claire was in the garden. She moved like an old woman, bent and slow. Jack wanted to go to her, wanted to say something. But Danny was watching from the porch, smoking a cigarette, eyes cold and mean. So Jack worked and waited and prayed for an opening that might never come. Sunday evening, after Danny left for his weekly poker game in town, Jack was in the barn when he heard footsteps. He turned. Claire stood in the doorway, silhouetted against the sunset. She looked small, fragile, but there was something in the way she held herself. A decision made. "I need help," she said. Jack set down his tools. "I know, he is going to kill me. I know. Can you get me out of here?" Jack looked at her, really looked at her, saw the desperation, the terror, the tiny flame of hope that had somehow survived everything Danny had done to extinguish it. "Yes," he said. "I can get you out, but we have to be smart about it. We have to plan. If we do this wrong, if Danny catches us, it will be bad. You understand?" She nodded. "When?" "Soon. Give me 2 days. I need to get some things ready." "Okay." "Claire, does he keep guns in the house?" A pause. Then she nodded. 3 rifles in the hall closet, a shotgun under the bed, a pistol in his truck. Jack processed this. "Okay. When we go fast. We do not stop. We do not look back. You got anywhere you can go? Family? Friends?" She shook her head. "No one." "All right. Then we head north. I know people in Montana. We can get you somewhere safe. What about you?" "He will come after you." Jack smiled, but there was no humor in it. "Let him try." Claire studied his face. "Why are you doing this? You do not even know me." "Because," Jack said quietly, "I could not save my mother. But maybe I can save you." Understanding flickered in her eyes. She had guessed. Had known that he knew. That he understood. "Thank you," she whispered. "Do not thank me yet. We are not out of this." 2 days, Claire. Be ready. And if anything changes, if Danny suspects anything, you come find me." "Okay." "Okay." She turned to go, then stopped. Looked back. "My real name is Claire Elizabeth Martin. I want someone to know, in case." She did not finish the sentence. Did not need to. "Claire Elizabeth Martin," Jack repeated. "I will remember." She left. Jack stood in the barn as darkness fell around him. 2 days. He had 2 days to figure out how to get a terrified woman away from a violent drunk in a town where the law was on the drunk's side. He had been in worse situations. Probably. Maybe. He tried to remember one and could not. But he had made a promise. And Jack Morrison kept his promises. He got to work. Jack spent Sunday night planning. He had $800 saved. Not much, but enough to get them out of state. He had a full tank of gas and a truck that ran well. He had the element of surprise. Danny would not expect Claire to run, would not expect Jack to help her. But they needed more than surprise. They needed a head start. Needed Danny to not realize Claire was gone until they were too far away to catch. Monday morning, Jack drove into Copper Ridge. He went to the diner first. Betty, the waitress, recognized him, poured him coffee without asking. He ordered breakfast and ate slowly, listening to the conversations around him. Small-town gossip. Who was sick? Who was getting married? Who owed who money? When Betty came to refill his cup, he asked her a question. If someone wanted to catch a bus out of state, where would they go? She looked at him carefully. Nearest Greyhound station is in Casper, about 90 miles east. How often do the buses run? Twice a day. Morning and evening. Jack nodded. Left her a big tip. Went to the hardware store next, bought rope, a tarp, some supplies he might need, paid cash. The clerk barely looked at him. Back at the ranch, Danny was loading hay bales. He grunted at Jack when he pulled up. "You are late. Had to get some things in town. For the fence repair. Next time, ask first." Jack unloaded his truck and went back to work. He saw Claire briefly at noon. She was hanging laundry. Her hands were shaking. He caught her eye and nodded once. She nodded back. Message received. Tomorrow. That night, Jack packed his truck. Everything he owned fit in 2 duffel bags. He left them under his cot. After dark, he walked the perimeter of the property, memorizing the layout. Where the driveway met the road. Which route was fastest. Where the fence had weak spots in case they needed to go cross-country. He checked his watch. Danny was at his poker game. Would not be home until midnight at the earliest. Jack walked to the main house, knocked softly on the back door. Claire opened it immediately. She had been waiting. She had a small backpack. That was all. "Is that everything?" Jack asked. "I do not need anything else." "Good. Tomorrow night, after Danny falls asleep, you come to the bunkhouse. Bring only what you can carry. We leave immediately. What if he wakes up?" "He won't. But if he does, you run. Straight to me. I will handle him." Claire nodded. She looked terrified but determined. "See you tomorrow." "See you tomorrow." Jack walked back to the bunkhouse. He lay down but did not sleep. Just stared at the ceiling and went over the plan again and again, looking for flaws, for things he had missed, for ways it could go wrong. There were too many to count. Tuesday dragged. Jack worked like always. Repaired fence, fed horses, mucked stalls. Danny was in a foul mood, complaining about losing money at cards the night before. He took it out on Jack, finding fault with everything. Jack absorbed it, apologized, stayed calm. Inside, he was counting down the hours. Afternoon. Danny went into town for supplies. Jack saw his chance. He went to the main house. Claire was in the kitchen washing dishes. She jumped when he came in. "Sorry," Jack said. "Just wanted to go over the plan one more time." She nodded, dried her hands. "Tell me, tonight, after he passes out, you come to me. We take my truck and head east to Casper. There is a bus station there. I will put you on a bus to wherever you want to go. I will give you money, enough to start over. What about you? I will figure something out. This is about getting you safe, Claire. That is all that matters. He will come after me. Let him. By the time he realizes you are gone, you will be on a bus to another state. He has no idea where you will go. He cannot track you if he does not know where to look. What if he finds me anyway? Jack met her eyes. He won't. I promise you, he won't. How can you promise that? Because, Jack said quietly, I am not just putting you on a bus and walking away. I am going to make sure you stay gone, that you stay hidden. I have friends, people who owe me favors. We will get you new identification. A new name if you want, whatever it takes. Why would you do all that? Because no one did it for my mother, and she died because of it. I am not letting that happen to you. Claire's eyes filled with tears. She wiped them away quickly. Thank you. Do not thank me. Just be ready. I will. Jack left, went back to work, waited. Evening came, dinner time. Jack saw Danny through the kitchen window drinking. Saw Claire moving around, serving food, cleaning up. The sun set, the light in the kitchen went out. Then the upstairs light came on. Jack waited in the bunkhouse, checked his truck, made sure everything was ready. Checked his watch. 10 o'clock, 11, midnight. At 1 in the morning he heard footsteps outside. Soft and careful. He opened the door. Claire stood there, backpack over her shoulder, face pale in the moonlight. He is asleep, she whispered. Let's go. They walked to the truck. Jack had parked it facing the driveway for a quick exit. He opened the passenger door for Claire. She climbed in. He got behind the wheel. He did not start the engine yet. Looked at her. Once we do this, there is no going back. You understand. You leave here, you do not come back. Ever. I know. Are you sure? She nodded. I am sure. Jack started the truck. The engine caught, loud in the quiet night. He half expected to see lights come on in the house. See Danny come running out with a shotgun. Nothing happened. Jack put the truck in gear and pulled out slowly. No headlights until they reached the road. They rolled down the driveway in darkness, gravel crunching under the tires. Claire was shaking. Jack kept his eyes on the road. They reached the main road. Jack flipped on the headlights and pressed the accelerator. The truck picked up speed. 30 miles per hour, 40, 50. Behind them, the Henderson ranch disappeared into the night. Beside him, Claire started to cry. Not sad tears, relief tears. Freedom, tears. Jack drove east, toward Casper, toward safety, toward a future that neither of them could predict but both of them desperately needed. They had made it out. Now they just had to make sure they stayed out. They drove through the night in silence. Claire cried for the first hour, quiet sobs she tried to muffle with her hand. Jack let her. Did not try to comfort her or tell her it was okay. It was not okay. Would not be okay for a long time. She needed to cry. Needed to let it out. By the time they crossed the county line, she had stopped. She stared out the window at the dark landscape rolling past. Jack kept the truck at a steady 70. His eyes flicked to the rearview mirror every few seconds. No headlights behind them. No one following. Not yet. Where are we going? Claire asked. Her voice was hoarse. Casper first, bus station. Then wherever you want to go. I do not know where I want to go. That is okay. You do not have to decide right now. Just think about it. Somewhere you have never been. Somewhere Danny would never think to look. She was quiet for a while. Then she said, I have a sister in Oregon, Portland. We have not spoken in 6 years, not since I married Danny. Why not? Because she told me not to marry him, said she saw what he was. I did not listen. I was young and stupid, and I thought I could fix him. Thought love would change him. She said if I married him not to come crying to her when it went bad. So I didn't. I was too ashamed. You think she would help you now? I do not know. Maybe. If she even still lives there. Jack nodded. Portland is good. Big city. Easy to disappear. We will call her when we get to Casper. See if she is willing. What if she says no? Then we figure out plan B. Claire looked at him. You keep saying we, like you are coming with me. I am. At least until I know you are safe. You do not have to do that. Yes, Jack said. I do. They drove. The miles disappeared behind them. At 4 in the morning, they stopped at an all-night truck stop. Jack filled the tank while Claire used the restroom. Inside, the fluorescent lights were harsh and bright. The tired cashier rang up his gas and 2 coffees. Jack paid cash. Back in the truck, Claire wrapped her hands around the coffee cup like she was trying to warm herself even though the night was not cold. Jack pulled back onto the highway. Can I ask you something? Claire said. Sure. You said your mother. What happened to her? Jack was quiet for a long moment. Then he told her. Told her about his father. About the drinking and the violence. About the years of watching his mother slowly break under the weight of it. About finding her that morning, lying at the bottom of the stairs, neck broken, The official report said she fell. Jack knew better. I am sorry, Claire whispered. Me too. I was too young to do anything about it. Too small. By the time I was big enough, strong enough, it was too late. Is that why you helped me? Part of it. But also because it is the right thing to do. Because no one should have to live like you have been living. Like she lived. What happened to your father? Jack's hands tightened on the steering wheel. I put him in the hospital. Broke his jaw and 3 ribs. Told him if I ever saw him again, I would finish the job. Then I left. Never went back. Good, Claire said. Jack glanced at her. She was staring straight ahead, jaw set. There was steel in her voice. He saw then that she was stronger than she looked. Than Danny had let her be. She had survived 3 years of hell. That took strength. They reached Casper as the sun came up. The bus station was near the downtown, a small building with a parking lot half full of cars. Jack pulled in and parked. Cut the engine. Wait here, he said. I will check the schedule. Inside, the station was nearly empty. An old man slept on a bench. A young woman with a baby waited near the ticket counter. Jack walked up to the counter. The clerk, a middle-aged man with tired eyes, looked up. When is the next bus to Portland, Oregon? The clerk checked his computer. Leaves at 9:30, gets in tomorrow afternoon. Jack bought a ticket, paid cash. The clerk handed it over without comment. Back at the truck, Claire was gone. Jack's heart jumped into his throat. Then he saw her. She was at a payphone outside the station, receiver pressed to her ear. He walked over. She was crying again. But these tears were different. I know, she said into the phone. I know. I am sorry. I should have listened to you. Yes, I will be there tonight. Tomorrow, I mean. Thank you. Thank you so much. She hung up, turned to Jack. My sister. She wants me to come. She said she has been worried about me for years. She said she will help me. Jack felt something tight in his chest loosen. Good. That is good. She said I can stay as long as I need. She has a spare room. She can help me find a job. Start over. You are going to be okay, Claire. She looked at him, reached out and took his hand. Her fingers were cold. I would not be if it were not for you. Jack squeezed her hand gently. Let's get you on that bus. They had 4 hours to kill. Jack drove them to a diner. They sat in a booth and ordered breakfast. Claire ate like she was starving. Maybe she was. Jack watched her. Watched color slowly return to her face. Watched her shoulders relax, degree by degree. Can I ask you something now? Jack said. Okay. What will you do? In Portland. After. Claire set down her fork. I do not know. Get a job. Any job. Waitressing, maybe? Or cleaning. I used to be good with numbers. Maybe bookkeeping. I just want something normal. Something where no one hits me. You ever think about pressing charges against Danny? Claire shook her head. What is the point? His cousin is the sheriff. The doctor is his friend. Who would believe me? And even if they did, even if he went to jail, he would get out eventually. And he would come looking for me. You are probably right. That is why I have to disappear. Completely. New name, new life, everything. I can help with that. I know a guy who does documents. Good ones. Driver's license, social security card, birth certificate. It is not cheap, but it is worth it. How much? About $500. I do not have that kind of money. I do. Consider it a loan. Pay me back when you can. I cannot ask you to do that. You are not asking. I am offering. Claire's eyes filled again. You are a good man, Jack Morrison. I am trying to be. They finished breakfast. Jack paid. They drove around Casper aimlessly, killing time. At 9, they headed back to the bus station. Jack parked. They sat in the truck. I have something for you, Jack said. He pulled an envelope from his jacket. Inside was $800. Everything he had. Take this. Claire stared at the money. I cannot. Yes, you can. You will need it to get started. For rent, food, whatever. Please. She took the envelope slowly. Her hands were shaking. I do not know how to thank you. You do not have to. Just promise me something. What? Promise me you will be happy. That you will build a good life. That you will not let what Danny did define you. I promise. The bus pulled in. Passengers started boarding. Jack and Claire got out of the truck. He grabbed her backpack from the bed, handed it to her. This is it, he said. She threw her arms around him, hugged him tight. He hugged her back. For a moment, they just stood there in the parking lot. 2 broken people who had found each other at exactly the right time. Thank you, she whispered, for everything. Take care of yourself, Claire Elizabeth Martin. She pulled back, smiled at him, her first real smile. It transformed her face, made her look young, made her look free. What will you do now? She asked. Jack shrugged. Keep moving. Find another ranch. Figure things out. You could come to Portland. Start over too. Jack shook his head. I appreciate that. But you need a fresh start, not a reminder of what you are leaving behind. You are not a reminder of anything bad. Still, you need to do this on your own. Be your own person, not rely on anyone else. She nodded. Understood. You are right. But, Jack said, if you ever need anything at all, you call me. He wrote a number on a scrap of paper. This is a friend of mine in Montana. You call him, leave a message, he will get it to me. Okay. The bus driver called for final boarding. Claire picked up her backpack, looked at Jack one more time. Goodbye, Jack. Goodbye, Claire. Good luck. She turned and walked to the bus, climbed the steps, found a seat by the window, waved at him. Jack waved back. The bus pulled out. Jack stood in the parking lot and watched until it disappeared from sight. Then he was alone. He got in his truck, sat there for a long time. He felt empty, exhausted, like he had been carrying a weight for years and had finally set it down. He started the engine, pulled out of the parking lot. He should leave, get as far from Wyoming as possible before Danny realized what had happened. Head north, cross state lines, disappear. But something made him turn south, back toward Copper Ridge, back toward the Henderson Ranch. He told himself he was just going to collect his last paycheck, get his things from the bunkhouse, then leave. But that was a lie. Jack knew exactly what he was doing, knew exactly where he was going. He drove back through the empty landscape. The sun climbed high. The day grew hot. He reached the ranch at noon. Danny's truck was in the driveway. Jack pulled up next to it, got out. The front door banged open. Danny stood on the porch. His face was purple with rage. In his hand was a shotgun. Where is she? Danny roared. Jack faced him, kept his voice calm. Gone. Where? None of your business. You son of a bitch. You helped her. You helped her run. I did. Danny raised the shotgun, pointed it at Jack's chest. I will kill you. Go ahead. But it will not bring her back. She is gone, Danny. And she is not coming back. Not ever. I will find her. No, Jack said. You won't. Danny's finger tightened on the trigger. For a moment, Jack thought he might actually do it, might actually pull the trigger. He found he did not care. If this was how it ended, at least Claire was safe. Then Danny lowered the gun. His face crumpled. For just a second, he looked lost. Pathetic. She is my wife, he said. She was your prisoner, Jack corrected. There is a difference. You do not know anything about it. I know enough. I know what I heard. What I saw. I know she was terrified of you. I know she thought you were going to kill her. I loved her. That was not love. Love does not leave bruises. Danny raised the gun again. Get off my property. Gladly. But first, there is something you need to understand. If you try to find Claire, if you go looking for her, if you so much as think about tracking her down, I will come back. And next time, I will not be so polite. You understand what I'm saying. Danny stared at him. You threatening me? I am promising you. Leave her alone. Move on with your life. Forget she existed. And if I do not... Jack smiled. It was not a nice smile. Then you will find out what it feels like to be on the receiving end. How does that sound? Danny's hands shook. The shotgun wavered, but he did not shoot. Jack turned his back, walked to the bunkhouse, grabbed his bags, came back out. Danny was still standing on the porch, gun in hand, looking lost. You are going to die alone, Jack said. You know that, right? You are going to die alone and angry, and everyone is going to be glad you are gone. He got in his truck, started the engine, pulled out. In the rearview mirror, he saw Danny still standing there, watching him go. Jack drove, did not look back. At the main road, he turned north, toward Montana, toward home or whatever passed for home these days. His phone rang. He did not have many people who had this number. He answered. It was his friend in Montana, the one who did documents. Jack explained the situation, asked for the favor. The friend agreed. One more thing, Jack said. If a woman named Claire calls asking for me, you tell her I said to be careful. You tell her I said to be happy. And you tell her I am proud of her. Got it, the friend said. Jack hung up, kept driving. Behind him, Wyoming disappeared. Ahead of him, Montana beckoned. He had no job lined up, no place to stay, no plan. But he had done what he set out to do. He had saved someone, had given someone a second chance, had maybe, in some small way, made up for not being able to save his mother. It would have to be enough. The miles rolled past. The sun climbed toward its zenith. The road stretched out before him, long and empty and full of possibility. Jack Morrison drove north, toward whatever came next, toward a future he could not predict but was ready to face. Behind him, a woman named Claire Elizabeth Martin sat on a bus, heading west toward freedom, toward family, toward a life she had thought was impossible. They would probably never see each other again. That was okay. Some people come into your life just long enough to change it, to save it. Then they move on. Jack had been that person for Claire. And in saving her, he had saved himself too. The road went on forever. Jack turned on the radio, found a country station, rolled down the windows and let the wind rush in. He smiled. For the first time in years, he smiled and kept driving. 3 months later, Jack was working a ranch outside of Billings. The work was hard but honest. The pay was fair. His boss was a good man who did not drink and did not raise his voice. It was exactly what Jack needed. One evening, his phone rang. The friend from Montana. "Got a message for you," the friend said. "From Claire." Jack's heart stuttered. "Is she okay?" "She is great. Wanted you to know she got the documents. Got a job. Waitressing at first, but she is doing bookkeeping now for a small business. She has her own apartment. She said to tell you thank you. And that she is happy." Jack closed his eyes. "Good. That is good." "She also said," the friend continued, "that if you are ever in Portland, you should look her up. She would like to buy you dinner. Tell her maybe someday." "I will." They hung up. Jack stood in the fading light and felt something settle in his chest. Peace, maybe, or as close to it as he was going to get. Claire was safe. Claire was happy. That was all that mattered. He went back to work. The sun set over the Montana mountains, painting the sky gold and red and purple. It was beautiful. Jack paused to appreciate it, to be present in the moment, to be grateful. Somewhere in Portland, a woman who used to be called Claire Henderson was finishing her shift at a coffee shop. She was laughing with a coworker, making plans for the weekend, living her life without fear for the first time in years. And somewhere in Wyoming, Danny Henderson was drinking himself to death, alone in a house that echoed with ghosts. Justice is not always swift, not always dramatic. Sometimes it is quiet. Sometimes it is just one person helping another person escape. Sometimes it is just survival. But it is still justice. Jack finished his work and headed to the bunkhouse, made himself dinner, ate in comfortable silence. He thought about his mother, about Claire, about all the women who had suffered at the hands of men who called it love. He could not save them all, could not fix every broken thing in the world, but he had saved one. And maybe, if he kept his eyes open, kept his heart soft, he would get the chance to save another. The night grew dark. Stars appeared overhead, countless and bright. Jack lay on his cot and stared up at the ceiling, thought about the road that had led him here. All the choices, all the mistakes, all the moments that had shaped him into the man he was. He had a lot of regrets. A lot of scars, a lot of memories he wished he could forget. But he did not regret Claire, did not regret that dusty road in Wyoming, did not regret the decision to help a stranger even though it had cost him everything. Some things were worth the cost. All things considered, Jack thought as sleep finally pulled him under, he had turned out okay, had done some good, had made a difference. His mother would have been proud of that. And tomorrow, he would get up and do it all again. Work hard, keep his head down, watch for trouble. And if he saw someone who needed help, someone who was trapped and scared and hopeless, he would do what he always did. He would step in. He would be brave. He would do the right thing. Because that was who Jack Morrison was. That was who he would always be. A cowboy who walked through the door when someone needed him most. And that was enough.